Welcome back to part 3 of our alternate guide to the grid for the Formula 1 2023 season. The numbers for the 2 previous videos have been through the roof. If by roof, you mean floor. We're not going to let a small thing like abject failure put us off. Let's do this! Number 22, Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki is one of the youngest drivers on the grid, and whilst he generally seems like an incredibly sweet guy, if you put him behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car, he becomes one extremely aggressive motherfucker. Here are some things you might not know about him. Milton Keynes. He described it as the most boring place in the world, but it became a city last year, so well done, Milton Keynes. Food. Yuki Tsunoda just absolutely loves the stuff. It was genuinely difficult to find any interview with Yuki that didn't mention his love of food, Japanese cuisine in particular, and he says he hopes to own a restaurant when he's finished with Formula 1. I did some research using Deliveroo and found that there are actually a surprising number of Japanese restaurants in Milton Keynes. Maybe Yuki should have given the place more of a chance and delayed his move to Italy. Number 23, Alex Albon. When I think of Alex Albon, I picture a very friendly worker at Waitrose. Waitrose, for our friends outside of the UK, is where you do your weekly shop once you've opened your first offshore bank account. But how does Alex like to spend his free time? Charity. You'll all remember Alex's red hair from the early parts of the 2022 season, which came about from a visit to an orphanage in Thailand, supported by a charity run by the brother of then Williams boss Jos Capito. Alex has since raised over $100,000 for the orphanage, making an enormous difference to the lives of so many kids. Animals. If there's generally one sort of person that I absolutely despise, it's somebody who makes a social media account for their pet. But I'll make an exception with Alex for 2 good reasons. Firstly, I like him. And secondly, they are top tier pets. Number 24, Zhou Guanyu. Zhou had an impressive start to his Formula 1 career in 2022, but apart from being the driver that I personally would most like to be friends with, what does Zhou's time off track look like? Fashion. It's no secret that Zhou is an incredibly fashionable guy, and whilst hearing this voiceover I do hope that you're currently seeing images of him looking cool as hell in the paddock. If not, then I've put my nicest shirt on to make up for it. Zhou has a huge passion for fashion, and says his style is centered around picking things he thinks looks cool and feels comfortable in. I think I look cool and feel comfortable in this fantastic, simply lovely hoodie from shop.wtf1.com. Go and buy it, please. Number 27, Nico Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg returns to the F1 grid this season after 2 years spent being a COVID super sub. Despite a distinct lack of podiums and questions over whether or not Kevin Magnussen's balls remain sucked or not, Nico is a consistent midfield performer. What more is there to know about the Hulk? I've read a lot of F1 website interviews with drivers when compiling this series, and Nico's from 2017 is by far the most bizarre. He described his love for chocolate, saying that the lighter pre-2017 hybrid cars meant that it is not as strictly necessary to keep the fingers off that brown sweet temptation. When asked if he collects anything, he replied, "Money? Fair enough." And in response to the question, which 3 people would you invite to a dinner party alive or dead, he said Donald Trump, Usain Bolt, and, to spice it up, Marilyn Monroe. The implications of this creates an image in my head that I can't unsee, but I am ashamedly aroused. Number 31, Esteban Ocon. Esteban will be competing in his 6th full season in F1 this year, but when he isn't staring lovingly into the eyes of his new teammate Pierre Gasly, what does he get up to? RC cars. Esteban spends a lot of his spare time building and racing remote-controlled cars. Anything with an engine and fuel and I'm down, is how he described this passion. While the 2022 Alpine definitely had both of those things, occasionally. Which 3 drivers would you have at your dinner party? And what's your favourite memory of Milton Keynes? Let us know in the comments, and for the love of God, please subscribe.